I'm going to pass over the program to Jack Marquardt, who is our Vice Chairman for Pickens County Family Connection, who's going to welcome you.
Yeah, thank you, Jackie. Of course, I want to welcome everyone once again. Without our collaborative partners being here, this would be nothing. You know, I mean, and we don't remind people often enough that it's everyone that participates that makes the Family Connection system work. I have just 4 quick things to talk about, and then what I missed, Jackie will cover at the end, so she'll kind of monitor what I have to say. But for those of you who weren't involved with the job fair, it was the day after our last collaborative meeting on the 10th of April, and it was greater than we could ever imagine. We had 217 people looking for jobs. But that wouldn't have happened if Jackie hadn't been the person monitoring and directing this whole thing, because she not only called the meetings, but kept the notes and kept us all on track. Nothing slipped through the crack. You know, she kept us focused. I know she would never say this, so I'm saying it. She kind of shies back from being the focal point. But, and also thanks to all the volunteers that helped make it work, because there were quite a few people that helped make it work. We're also, I think 2 meetings ago, we got your feedback on the vitality survey. Well, we've got a committee formed, but due to schedules, our first meeting is going to be the 21st. I think, Dr. Malden, you're going to kind of direct that. So that we do get the most out of your feedback. You're not, well, you're going to be there. I think. But anyway, Dr. Malden has summarized a lot of the data that's going to give us a good starting point.
Also, I think Paul wanted us to invite, if anybody else wanted to join in the discussion, is it the 21st? The 21st. Just talk to Jack or myself after, and we'll let you know where it is and all that.
And again, the Family Connection is only as good as the volunteers that we have. And one of the things that we're trying to get going is we've finally gotten committees formed. But you know, we don't expect that only the people on the board are going to be the people in the committees. But to really be effective, we need volunteers that have some expertise in those areas that the committees, the planning committee, communications, board development are 3 of the committees, and then we'll probably most likely at times have ad hoc committees to look at specific problems. But if we want to cover the ground that we would like to cover and do the most good that we can do, we need people to help us get results. So I know it's hard if you're working to squeeze in another 2 hours a month or something, but you may know someone who might fit the bill, who's possibly retired. One thing we're looking for the board now is maybe a retired lawyer to serve on the board. So if you know a judge that's retired or a lawyer that's retired and would like to serve the county well, you know, we would welcome them with open arms. You know, there are certain things that, especially in today's world, where you got to be aware of the legal ramifications. And you know, we're not out on the end of the limb sawing it off very often, but we like the lawyer there to say, hey, watch out, guys, this is a potential problem. The final thing is that, and Tom has mentioned this before, is that we're still working on our mission statement. We'd like to have a meaningful mission statement for our Family Connection. We've got one, but we don't feel that it's conveying the right message. So we'll be bringing that up from time to time and talking about it when we've got something a little bit more concrete. But that's about what I had to offer this morning. And again, I appreciate you all being here.
Thank you. I missed the introduction, so I'd like if everybody could just say their name and who they're associated with, and then at the end of the program, we'll have more time to talk about if you have some announcements to make. So I'm Jackie Childers, and I'm the coordinator for Pickens County Family Connection.
I'm Judy Bellenger, and I'm visiting today, but I'm actually on the board of Boys and Girls Club.
Hello everyone, Michelle Bracken with Boys and Girls Clubs.
Dan Bellenger, I'm Family Connections.
Linda Barnes with the Name Droppers.
Ruth Fallon with North Georgia Mountain Crisis Network.
Michael Brock with Sharp Top Arts Association.
Steve Greenwell, Habitat for Humanity.
Ann Hofstadter, Renew Counseling.
Ralph Parker with North Georgia Pregnancy Center.
Lois Bynum on the board and also a volunteer at Good Samaritan.
Jack Marcacci, but in addition to being on Family Connection, I'm a St. Vincent de Paul Society volunteer.
Merle Howell-Naylor, Director of Gilmer County Family Connection.
John Collins, Chattahoochee Tech, Adult Education. I'm on the board here. I'm also on the state board of Georgia Family Connection.
John Malden, I'm on the board, and I'm also on the board of Boys and Girls Club.
Carrie Ann MacArthur, I work with ACES.
Joe Davis, I'm on the NAMI board, the National Alliance for Mental Illness.
I'm Larry Starr, I'm on CARES, and let's remember Margie Lohman and the loss of her husband, George.
Thank you.
Greg Mason with the Ruth House, and also on the Coalition for Drug-Free Pickens.
Thank you. Well, now, welcome, thank you, and now we're going to enjoy our speaker, Mr. Danny Bellenger. Dr. Danny Bellenger. Go ahead.
I'm Dan Bellenger, I'm a marketing professor from Georgia State, semi-retired at this point, and still work for them a little bit, and spent some time at Texas Tech and at Auburn University. Any Auburn or Texas Tech or Georgia State graduates? No? Okay. That's okay. This morning we're going to talk a little bit about marketing and branding, and this is a working meeting. You thought you were just going to come and sit around and listen, but we're going to actually try to use Family Connections as our case study and see what we can do with the marketing for Family Connections. And hopefully in looking at those basic concepts, you can apply those to your organization as well. I learned a long time ago that when you're doing things like this, there's three fundamental components to having a good presentation. You need a good introduction, a good close, and they need to be close together. So I'll get at least one of those right today. All right, let me pass these out for you. This is a list of some of the topics that we're going to talk about very quickly. So marketing, what is marketing anyway? Everyone knows what marketing is, right?
Selling your product, marketing your
product. So we think primarily of the selling and the communications aspect, advertising, sales, things like that. Actually, marketing, I think, is broader than that. It's the notion of having an external group out there somewhere, somebody external to our organization that we want to interact with in some positive way, okay? So we've got a market out there, or a group of people, and we want to provide something to them that'll meet certain needs that they have in exchange for something else, okay? The product, how many of you got one of these? Most of you got one of these, okay. Who is the group that this is targeted to? Who is the market? Who's the external group?
18 to 30-year-olds.
Okay. 18 to 30 years old. We have a family plan, right? So 12 years. Start pretty young, but you've got families and individuals. You've got, what other markets exist?
Businesses.
Businesses. You got business markets. Do you think the needs and desires of the 18 or 12-year-old or me or the business is going to be the same? Probably not, right? So we start out marketing by trying to understand who we're trying to do business with and what their basic desires are, what their needs are, what their wants are, okay? And this is designed to meet a certain kind of need. What's the need that it meets for me?
Quick and easy
Quick and easy to do what?
to review as the person, yes.
Okay, well, communication, this is a communications device. It gets me in touch with, very quickly, other individuals, also with the internet, lots of sources of information out there, okay?
And more than one person at a time, because emails, instead of calling one person from back in the day, you can email blast, you can Facebook blast,
You can do that, I can't do that. You can text. Matter of fact, when we're talking with our children, who are, I guess, in their 40s now, I can't call them and get them on the phone, but I can text them and I get a response almost instantaneously. So the only thing they do is text, apparently. And you probably can use it for texting and so forth. So we've got a communication device here, targeted to me. So what's the basic benefit package that I get then? When I start entering, this AT&T was the provider, really, the service. What service are they offering to me now? They're offering me a network that connects me in a device, and then a network that connects me in with all those other people out there and all those other sources of information, right? So there's a certain benefit package that they provide to me, okay? And what do they want in exchange for that? Money, okay. Actually, the phone was free. As long as, as long as you sign a 2-year contract to use their services, right? So I entered into a contract, we did, and that's what they're getting in exchange for providing this service, right? So that notion of providing something in exchange for something else is called value proposition. Do they have a good value proposition, you think? They have a pretty good value proposition, at least I thought so, we thought so, because we entered into that contract with them, and they're providing that service. So that's really, the starting point to marketing is understanding, first of all, who you're trying to do business with. Secondly, what are their needs or desires? And then thirdly, developing a value proposition that's going to appeal to that particular group of people, okay? Again, businesses, 12-year-olds, families, me, a professional, a doctor, using it in his practice, different needs. So you may have to have a different kind of offering to meet the different kinds of needs for different target groups, okay? Most all organizations have multiple target groups. For example, a radio station, who's their market?
Depending on what they play.
Okay, what now?
Depending on what they play.
Depending on what they play?
What kind of music, whether it's news, whether it's talk.
Well, in this part of the world, country music, obviously. But
Yeah.
So who they're trying to get listeners, but who else are they trying to get?
Businesses.
Businesses. They're trying to get advertisers, right? So you got two very different groups there, and you're providing music or talk or whatever to attract the listeners. What are you giving to the advertisers? What's the value proposition for the advertiser? An audience. Delivering the listeners to them. Access to those listeners, right? So again, you've got to think about the multiple markets that your organization has to interact with. Someone like almost all of the charitable organizations have many different markets. You've got, what kind of markets do you have?
Donors, volunteers.
You got your donors, you got your volunteers.
Clients.
The clients.
With us parents.
The parents in your case.
Local government.
Local government. So you've got lots of different groups you've got to think about what the value proposition for each of those groups is, okay? All right, so after we've got a value proposition here, and I've said determine that this is a value to me. That's in a free market, that's what people do. They assess different offerings and they say, okay, which one has the greatest value to me? And they pick based on what their perceptions of the best value is, right? Then what else do you have to do after you've got that value proposition? They had to do what else?
Deliver
product.
And they had to deliver the product. They do it, in this case, AT&T does do a network of towers, right? The actual phone, where did I get this?
Store.
I went to an AT&T store and got this. So they've got a distribution network, and you've got to have the same thing to deliver your value proposition, right? Where you may have to go to the individuals. You may want them to come to a central place. You may do it electronically. There's a lot of different ways to distribute. You've got to figure out how to get the value proposition to them. And then what's another thing you have to do?
You have to retain them
Okay, you have to retain it. How do you retain them?
through, well, I was the manager for Verizon Wireless for 7 years, so
Hey.
I can use
So no, you didn't
Verizon.
retain me. That one makes it.
Again, through good customer service,
customer.
through, like you said, just continuing to show them the value of your product.
You've got to convince them that the value that they bought into is in fact real, and that you sustain that value over time. But another thing you've got to do before they ever come with you is what?
Competitive pricing.
Well, pricing is what they're giving up to get the benefit package. In their case, it was the monthly fees, right? And you think about charitable organizations. Well, there's no price involved. We're not charging people for this service. Is there a price though? In almost every case, there is, right? It may be time. How much time are you asking them to commit? Maybe psychic energy, all the other things that you have to invest to get whatever it is the value the benefit package is. So you've got to have price, but also you've got to let them know. You got to communicate. You got to have a value proposition. You got to figure out how to deliver it. Then you got to figure out how to communicate that value proposition to them, so that the people that you're targeting know what it is you're offering, what they're giving up to get it, where they can get it, and why it is that this is something that they should be doing. Right? And you can do that communications in lots of different ways. How do you do that? We haven't talked to this side.
Since I sell promotional products.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. You can do it. What's the most effective one? What's the most powerful form of communications that when people study this in marketing and
Face-to-face.
face-to-face, person-to-person, word-of-mouth communication is the most effective way to do it. If you can generate word-of-mouth that's non-sales, that's just people that are your customers talking about you, that's the most effective. Salespeople would probably be next because they can get immediate feedback and respond to what they're hearing. Then you got advertising and so forth. And the idea of the communications is, we think about usually what we want to say, but the effectiveness of the communications really is not what we think. It's what the target customers think about it, right? In other words, if they don't understand it the way it's what they understand and what they think that's important. That's because that's what's driving their behavior. And that's what you're trying to influence, is getting them to interact with you in a way that'll accomplish your goals. I can tell this good. It's not that color. I heard a story about communications. Actually heard it in church, at the chapel of all places. It's related to Easter and the resurrection. The pastor had a children's group every Sunday come down. Y'all have that in your churches? They come down to the front, does the little sermon for the children and so forth. And he was going to explain what the resurrection meant. Okay. And the group came down, and he was talking to him about the resurrection, and he said, well, what do you know about the resurrection? And well, Johnny held up his hand, 5 years old. Well, I don't know very much about the resurrection, but I do know that if it lasts longer than 4 hours, you should call your doctor. So it's not what the pastor was saying, it's what Johnny was hearing and understanding. That's the key thing here, right? All right. So Marketing involves, again, establishing these exchange relationships. You're providing something to a group in exchange for something else. You're meeting some need that they have with what you're providing. It could be a physical need, it could be a psychological need, it could be a social need. We think typically in terms of physical needs, but certainly any of those are. Why do you ladies buy perfume?
To get a headache.
Okay, you don't get. Is it is it a physical need that you have there for perfume? Probably not, right? It's probably more psychological and social in nature, right? So there are lots of different, and who decides what the legitimate needs are out there?
The consumer.
The consumer, right? Whoever's deciding whether to enter into the relationship with the provider is the one who has to decide what's legitimate need in a free society, and that's what we're operating in. So you've got to consider what their needs are. Yes, sir, go ahead.
Well, I was thinking, you also many times have to create the need.
Well,
They don't know they have
we
it.
marketers would debate that a little bit. Can you create needs?
Well, I mean, or make someone aware they have a need they may not know they have.
All right, did they, certainly this, you can certainly do that.
Yeah.
Did they create the need for this kind of device? This is an Apple.
Answering the need.
Okay, the fundamental core need was for communications, and they didn't create
The
that.
telephone already existed.
The telephone there were already ways to communicate. They just created a better way to do it, or what a lot of people perceive as a better way. So I think making people aware of it, we can do. Creating a desire or a want, we can do. Creating a core need, that's probably beyond what we can do or should do.
What happened with these things is they're really not very good phones. But
Mine works just fine.
But the quality of the audio is very good. But the capability of all those other things, to send a picture, to do all of this stuff is really good.
So they augmented the basic core communication. That gets us down to the value proposition and creating value. The benefit package, you got the core, but then you've got what marketers call augmented benefits. And a lot of it's the core communications, as you say, or may not be, but they may provide that, but then they create a lot of augmented benefits, things that attach onto that. Okay? And then there's psychological benefits as well. Feeling good about yourself, image, and so forth.
Well, and in some markets, like healthcare, you can push demand. Because, for instance, when a consumer comes into a doctor's office, they certainly don't know that they need an MRI. Right. They may not need an MRI, but if the doctor checks off that box, all of a sudden they need an MRI. So there are some niche markets where the demand is pushed by an outside party.
Well, yeah, I think the communicating the nature of the need, the doctor thought they needed it, right? Or he wouldn't have checked it. Doctors, we wouldn't accuse doctors of checking that box if they didn't think they needed it, right? So maybe they needed, and he made them, he communicated the need to them. Okay. That's putting him in a good light, I guess.
If you think, I mean, if you watch the news, bad thing, bad thing, bad thing, bad thing, Abilify. Bad thing, bad thing, bad thing, headache powder. Bad thing. It seems, and that is not the same thing that's advertised at football games. It's cars and it's beer.
Sure.
So fitting that market, and then to me raising the stress of that market. I mean, the Abilify sold 1.6 billion last year. It was the highest selling drug in America.
Yeah, a lot of the promotion, a lot of appeals or communications is fear-based, as you suggest. It's telling people what bad things are going to happen if you don't purchase or this product or use this service, but a lot of them are not. And they don't need to necessarily be. But it's something as simple as Band-Aids. What do they, you ever seen a Band-Aid commercial? What do they have?
Children.
You have little children with cut knees and things. And if you're going to be a good parent, you better have Band-Aids around. Okay, so there's different kinds of appeals and communications that people make. Well, before we get too hung up, cost-wise, what is it you're asking people to give up? It could be time, could be effort, could be stress, could be money. In the case of most commercial products, it's money. In the case of most charitable organizations, it depends on the target group. If it's the sponsors, yeah, the donors are trying to get them to give them money. What are they getting in exchange for their money?
Well, it depends on what you're selling them to some extent. If you're selling them a sponsorship at a golf tournament, they're getting their message in front of the eyeballs of a target market.
Okay.
If you're selling them investment in the community, then they're getting a healthier, in our case, more productive community.
Okay. So if the Boys and Girls Club is asking me to give money, what is it that I get? What's the benefit I get from it in their case?
Well, and there's also
I'm not a commercial, I'm not sponsoring anything, I'm not trying to sell my services, I'm just giving them money. What are they saying? Okay, what do I get for that?
There's also an intangible benefit too.
There's been a lot of research on this, and the most prevalent thing is shared values, basically. In other words, you're doing something that furthers your values as an individual. There's the altruism in general, the feeling good, as you say, and so forth. But you're asking people to give up money in that case. In the case of volunteers, you're asking them to give up. What's the cost there? It's time, right? What about the people who are looking for your services? Is there any cost to them? Time. Okay, almost in every situation, there's going to be time. They're going to have to invest some time in it. What about privacy? Are they giving up privacy in some cases? In a lot of cases, you are. Okay. So y'all think about what is it you're asking people to give up? Okay. Because they're going to weigh the benefits they get in relation to the cost. If it takes too much time, too much effort, interferes with their privacy too much, they're going to say the benefits are not worth it. The value is not there. It's not a good value proposition for them. Okay. They may not think in those terms exactly, but that's what they're doing, basically. All right. Then we're going to deliver the value, and we're going to communicate the value. Also, we're going to talk a little bit about branding here. What does branding mean?
Having your own, having your own mark, like recognizable.
Okay.
Post-it notes.
Like our thing is, if you see the hand, so like our logo, we wanted to make sure that everyone knows that means Boys and Girls Club, and Boys and Girls Club is here, or the Great Futures. Start here, you hear that, you want to make that everyone should know, hey, she's associated with Boys and Girls Clubs.
So it can be a name, it can be symbols. You got the. It can be logos. It can be tunes. How many can do the 3 notes from the Intel? Can anyone do those? Anyone have musical talent can do the 3 notes from the Intel?
So think about the.
You hear those on TV and you immediately know it's Intel, right?
Or the shark in Jaws.
Yeah, exactly.
It can be an individual too.
It can be a spokesperson or an individual. It's something that creates, that you can identify that provider immediately, okay? And we'll go.
Can't go.
And in terms of that branding, we want to create awareness. Okay, we want people to know who that is when they see that, hear that tune, or see that name, or see those symbols. Have you created awareness? If I see that logo, do you think I'm going to know who you are? Who the Boys and Girls Club is?
By the look on your face.
I don't know. I didn't even know that was. My wife is on your board, and I didn't even know that. I'm not sure you got the awareness over to me yet.
We have a, that's why we're here.
But the key group, what is the key group to get that awareness across to?
Your customer.
Your
The target customers, right? Okay, it's the people that are probably, who are the deciders for your, who makes the decision that a boy or girl is going to come to your club?
The parents.
The parents. So the parents need to, that's probably the target group that you need to try to communicate or make aware of the brand. Okay? And the third thing is that we want the brand to have a positive image. Whenever they see that, we want them to think about Boys and Girls Clubs, and we want to see the promise, basically, of the image that's being communicated. Okay? When you see Coca-Cola, you recognize that immediately, right? Okay. And what's the promise there? When I pick up that can,
Have a coconut smoke.
I'm going to get that same taste. You know, I got to get consistency. If it's something I enjoy from the past, build up this loyalty to it, then I can recognize it. I can go back to it. So I've got a positive image, perhaps, of that. Okay. What about the Boys and Girls Club? When parents see that, do they recognize it first of all? And then what is the promise being communicated, or the image that you're projecting? What pops into their mind? The little Johnny's mind at the service on Sunday. What's in it? Not what's in the preacher's mind. What is in their mind?
That they have a safe place to go after school.
So you want to communicate that it's safe,
Affordable. That we have education-based programs.
it's educational. Okay. Overall, their child is going to be better off if they participate.
Because great futures start here.
Well, great futures start there. And over time, organizations build up a lot of equity in their brand. Their brand has a value to them, okay? Because people then see that and they'll recognize you immediately. They'll have positive word of mouth because of it. They'll think highly of you. They'll tell other parents you ought to send your child to the Boys and Girls Club. So there's an equity that you build up over time by doing a good job then after you've got them to come and start. Okay. The family connections. Let's think about family connections now for a second. I've got my assistant here. Let's think about family connections. What now? You can't read my writing. I can't. I've done PowerPoints for so many years. I cannot write anything. So, but we're going to think about family connections and see if we now can apply some of what we're talking about to family connections. All right. First of all, who is the market? Are there different markets? Does Family Connections have one market, one group they're trying to deal with? Multiple groups?
Multiple.
Markets. So we're going to list markets here. Multiple. Who are they?
The community at large.
Okay. Community at large. What do they want to do with the community at large?
I guess make them aware of who Family Connections is.
Jackie, go ahead.
Just make them aware that the Family Connections is there and what they're there to try to do for the community.
Okay. Well, who is the main market, do you suppose?
Community.
Community, is that the community?
Children and families, I would
Children and
say.
families. Well, you've got
You've got
families also in the community. Let's put families down. Okay. You haven't got to the one that I think is the key target market yet.
Agencies, the group. The agencies.
You. The partners, right? Seems to me that's the primary target market for Family Connections. In other words, Family Connections is probably here to make you more effective and efficient. And it's going to help the community and the families by doing that. Now, there may be direct help to the families, but they're going to do a whole lot more good if they can make you more effective and efficient, right? So they can work through you. Go ahead.
The funders, I mean.
You've also got
where the money comes
the
from.
funders, but the funders of Family Connections is primarily, you can talk now.
It's a grant,
It's a grant, okay.
Right, and
It's the
some
government, right?
family connection, some family connection organizations, I don't know about you, Merle, but apply for grants as well and work with partners in applying for grants. Typically, we have not done that very much in Pickens County. We just got one just recently from Pickrock, but we're going to try to get more grants. But we have not, our philosophy has been to not go for grants so that we don't take money away from the partners.
Okay. But it is, there's funders or supporters as well as a potential target here. But that's primarily government. State government is the grant for state government that funds.
The state
them.
of Georgia is.
But they do have to, they have to deal with the state of Georgia and communicate with them and continue that grant. But there's also some other funding sources.
Legislators.
Yeah, the legislators that could in fact double the size of their grant if they wanted to, right?
Yes.
Or have
So-
So we're spending the other way.
And not spend that money on something else. Okay, so we've got different kinds of markets. I think, personally, that the most important one is the partner. Would you agree with that? Okay. I can convince most of you that, not all of you probably.
If you don't have the partners, you don't have the rest of it. All of those are important.
Exactly.
But if you don't have like the board and the people here, then the rest of it's not gonna work.
Volunteers would be another for the board. But that the way that I think Family Connections can do the most, again, to help families and the community is by helping the partners to be more effective. Seems to me. No, there are multiple, rather than doing things directly, you got one person doing
Maybe if we
it. You got
said-
30 organizations doing it.
Maybe if we said networking among the partners.
Yeah, we'll get to save that thought. We're going to get to that.
Most people are not here to get more money for their.
No.
They're here to network with others. So
Right.
maybe that's.
Yeah, we're gonna get to the benefits that they should be providing to the partners and just immediately. Let's circle partners and put that one on the wall over here. Let's focus on the market of partners for a second. Okay, well let's put benefits. What is it that Family Connections could do that could make partners either more effective or more efficient? In other words, what benefits can they provide to you?
Well,
Who are
Jackie
partners?
has got all this.
You're okay. Networking is clearly one. They can get you in touch with other people that provide services in the community. And why would that be important?
So that you're not duplicating certain.
Exactly. You don't want to duplicate. Also, almost anybody who comes into one of your organizations is not there with a single need, are they? They're there with multiple needs. You only provide for some of those, most likely. So what are you going to do about the rest of them? Well, if you know all the other partners, you know who to refer them to. Right. So the networking is a very important part of this.
It allows us to deliver a better product to our clients.
Right, exactly. That's the whole idea of, I think, Family Connections, is to allow you to be more effective in doing what you do and more efficient in doing it. If you can do it for less cost, then you can do more of it.
Yeah.
Okay, so effective and efficient. So networking is one. What else can they do for you? I can think of some other things here I could put in the list, but
Education, is that
okay.
what you're going to do?
Training and education. Most of you, some of you have staffs, I'm sure, but probably most of you work with volunteers. Is that right? Yeah, a lot of volunteers, maybe some staff and volunteers. Do they need training? Would they be more effective if they had more training? All right. So what kind of training is common amongst the partners? Can you identify any training needs that would be in common?
The best way to help people.
Okay. The best way to help people. Let's make a list of training things. Customer service, maybe?
Yeah.
Okay, customer service. What about training on computers and computer systems and how to manage those? Do you need that kind of thing for your people? I don't know if you do or not. Tell her what you need. What do you need for training?
First aid, CPR, things like that, that would be.
Certainly, that would be important. Any organization needs people trained in things like CPR.
Confidentiality.
Training in basic policies of confidentiality and so forth. Okay.
Ethics.
Ethics, all right. Okay.
Legality.
Ethics and legalities. Okay.
Confidentiality.
You know, how to recognize child abuse,
Okay.
like the Stewards program, things like that. I mean,
Would it be possible then for Family Connections to try to figure out from the partners what common training needs they have for their staff and volunteers and provide that kind of training? Would you send your staff and volunteers to that kind of training? And would that be something they could do that would make you more effective and efficient? Possibly. I don't know if Family Connections has thought about those guys providing training or not, but it seems to me that would be one thing that could be done that would be more effective and efficient, right? Okay. What else? Let's go with it.
There's one more thing that we provide, and I don't know if you see it, but I get information from the Georgia Family Connection Partnership about grants, and I often email that to people.
There's another computer. Put computers in your list and then put fundraising basics of fundraising. Would that be helpful? Do most of you do any fundraising in your organization? Would it be helpful to have training on that? Well, there are people who do a really good job of providing that training. Probably it'd be more efficient for Family Connections to do a program for all of you than for each of you to do a separate program and do 30 different programs, right?
Grant writing.
Grant writing, okay, another one. So you can start to think about lots of different kind of common training themes.
And I think Family Connections also needs to, just like we have to look at not duplicating efforts.
Mm-hmm.
Family Connection, I mean, a lot of that actually is available elsewhere.
Yep. Right.
But, Georgia Center for Nonprofits.
Well, again,
excellent.
if in fact there's no need for it, then they shouldn't do it.
Right.
But if there's a common need that's not being met, that's perhaps one of the things they could look at. What other benefits could they provide to you to make you more effective and efficient? I can think of a couple of others, but can anyone think of anything else?
Advocacy, I mean, I think on some issues, we would all have some common things, and coming together as a group to advocate to local or state government would perhaps be more effective.
Okay, put advocacy not in that list, but in the bigger list. Being an advocate for things that are common amongst you. I think you've got to get things which are common amongst you. You can't be advocating things for one partner that doesn't really, that maybe works against or doesn't affect the rest of the partners. But if there are common themes that they can advocate, that would be a useful thing to do. What about a better system for referrals? Would that be helpful? If in fact if you had a computer network or a website for Family Connections, that you could say, okay, I've got someone coming into Boys and Girls Club. There's a need for food. I can put in food, and it'll tell me exactly what agencies, what partners provide that service, who the contact person is, and I can refer them directly to that person. Do we do that now in Family Connections? No, I don't think so. At least I can't find it.
There's a resource.
We're working on a resource.
A resource, but would it be more effective if you automated and put it on the website? What now?
I don't know.
You don't know?
I don't know if that's worth
It'd be good if you could do that also.
Actually, there's counties in the state that Family Connections have already got this. You don't have to create this, you just bring it from another county because they've already got it.
Also for accountability, to see if people are playing the system,
Okay.
keep up where they're going and what they're getting.
But some system for easier, more efficient referrals.
We have
And it's
that.
updated, okay. It's already in
It's
place?
yeah, it's internet-based, yeah. It's called Gilmore Cares.
Okay, okay, so does Family Connections, can they provide to their partners any value by adding this into their website?
Absolutely, it's very inexpensive.
Exactly. So basically, you can start to think about ways to make the referral process easier and more efficient. Because we come in people with multiple needs, so what do you do for them? Well, you need to refer them to people who actually can provide for those needs, right? And if you can make that easier, more effective, more efficient, that'd be a positive thing for Family Connections, probably. Yeah. What else?
One of the challenges that we have is working with the school system to get flyers out to the children. And I understand that, you know, their process now is not to do any flyers from any agency in the county.
Right.
So how great would it be if there was, I mean, that's our target, children and families with Family Connection.
Yeah.
There are so many events that are going on, we could hit every single child in the school system. If we did some sort of like newsletter that was approved by the school system, it could be a monthly thing, and I would be willing to make it. It would be something so easy. Something that could be, front and back, one pager once a month that's just highlighting events, or summer program for Boys and Girls Clubs is coming up, Recreation Department summer program. You know, they're having a dental day at Good Samaritan, or something like that, you know.
So put /PR there. Would it be helpful if, in fact, you had more visibility? Would you be able to raise more money and get more volunteers and get more people? You suppose that Family Connections could help with that? For example, our local papers would be delighted if we had someone to write it, to put a column called Family Connections in and focus on a different partner each week or month. So I asked them and they said they'd be delighted to have that. Would that be helpful? Would that add value? Would that be a benefit to you? It could be possible. So at any rate, I think that's the process that Family Connections probably ought to think about, and that's what you ought to think about for your organization. Who is your target? What are the benefits that we can provide to them? Okay, to add value. Okay, in terms of the, go ahead and put that one on the
Can
wall
I
over
say
there.
something about
Sure.
communication for a minute? My big thought is our website, to develop our website, to have that database of referral, but also to have links of all our partners on our website so that people could see what each partner is, and you could also click on that and would direct them directly to the partner's website.
Exactly.
So that they could get the information that they need.
Yeah, I know
That's
that.
kind of my vision.
I know that the Boys and Girls Club they're working on their website right now. And probably the same people would be willing to do this for them. So it's probably, we can get that done.
And maybe
There are people out there who could do a really good job.
we have found that we're reaching a lot of individuals through Facebook. The kids are getting away from Facebook, but our target market, the parents, and donors too, you know, they get, you know, notifications that they have, you know, a new message or, but yeah, getting the word out through Facebook.
Right.
People can share, you know, and like I know for a fact if I like someone's page and I see that they have an upcoming event, I'm constantly sharing because then all my friends see it and things like that. So
And we do a lot with Mary Lindsay right here, No Pickens. She's a great venue for spreading the news in the county. A lot of people look.
Okay, since we only have a couple of minutes left, costs. What are there costs to you?
Time.
Time, okay. Is there things that could be done that would make it more efficient for you? Maybe they need to look at that. In other words, when you're talking about the value proposition, people are going to, the partners in their case, your prospective clients are going to weigh in their mental calculation. What's the benefits? How much am I giving up? And is it worth it to me? Is it a value to me? Okay. So Family Connections needs to think in those same kind of terms, and you need to think in those terms. Also, they need to think about how to communicate. I think they do a great job communicating with you as partners, because there's a small number. It can be a very targeted communication for the partners. And the delivery mechanism, I think, is perfectly good. What about branding before we wrap up here? Is Family Connections, are people aware of it? And do they have an image of it at all? Do they know what it is? And do they have either a positive, negative, or any kind of image at all? Probably not. Do the partners all have a good, clear understanding? Do all of you have a good, clear understanding of what Family Connections is? What its intent is? What the brand promise is? What they're all about?
We've kind of talked about it.
Okay.
I mean, I know that I have because I've been involved for many years. But I will say that a few years back, I didn't actively participate because I was getting no value. And then things were revamped.
Honesty, that's the best way. In other words, so you're not going to fill up the room if people don't think there's value to what they're getting out of it.
There's another way to think about it. I mean, when I think about Good Sam, I think about Chattahoochee Tech. To me, those places have brand.
Mm-hmm. They
Because
do.
people know and are aware of them. So there's a general knowledge of them. And I think that's what you're talking about.
Exactly.
And Chattahoochee Tech even had the challenge of changing their name from Appalachian Tech.
Yes,
And yet, I mean, obviously it was really successful.
The Good Samaritan has an enormous positive word of mouth communications. Someone told me, and I think it's probably accurate, that we live in Big Canoe, that there are 500 volunteers in Big Canoe alone that work for Good Samaritan. So there's a lot of volunteers out there if you get the message out. You just got to create that brand and that identity and positive image of the brand. Okay, we would have gone further here, but we have run out of time, and we're going to keep it short. Right? Good start, good luck. Close together.
Can I make a quick caveat though? There was, I mean, as far as your markets go, there was a program in the state of Georgia. There was a private-public partnership, somewhat similar to this, that provided meds to the poor in Georgia for years. But they forgot that their main support was the legislature, and they forgot to take care of that market, and they got defunded and they don't exist. So the entire state lost out on that organization and that product because they forgot who their market was.
Without that funding, Family Connections wouldn't exist.
Right.
I mean, the Family Connections, there is some additional support, but that's the core of the support. So, yes, I think that's very accurate. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Well, that was very helpful to me. And I hope it was beneficial to you guys and that you can apply that to your own organization. I was going to give you a very quick update because I want to spend most of the time on the announcements. If you have a 30-second announcement, we'll go into that. Basically, next month, we're going to have the Joy House presenting, and we're also going to talk about the vitality results and discuss what we found out during our meeting on May 21st. So we'll discuss that. Where are we going? One of these things. Our strategy update, Thrive to 5, we're meeting, I met with our chairperson yesterday or the day before, and we're going towards seeing what do we need to do to have children ready to enter school. What do kids need to do to be ready for kindergarten? And we're trying to partnership with the school board and the schools to see what their standards are so that we can start measuring what's going on. So this is kind of the direction we're going with that. Coalition for Drug-Free Pickens. Hi! Our chairman is right here, Greg Mason. You want to give us a quick update or do you want me to talk? Okay, well, we're focusing on looking at the Bodden Life Skills Program, a program that we would introduce at the middle school to teach young children life skills, and not just about anti-drugs, but life skills. I think there's bullying in there, and there's a lot of different things. So we are meeting, we're going to try to meet with the school board, powers to be, Dr. Green, I believe, who is going to see if they would approve of this program. And this is through a grant, correct? Yeah, DECRA grant? All right. Are there any questions about what else we're doing? And of course, we talked about the job fair for that, workforce development. This has been very active. We've had the job fair and we've had a career day at the high school. Last night we had, again, a career day job fair expo where we met with Mountain Education students to encourage them to go to the resource center to get some help in finding jobs and in writing resumes, which is a service that we offer at our resource center. Okay, I am done, and I would love to hear something. So I'll start with Judy. Do you have anything you'd like to announce, or is there anything? Michelle?
Okay. Michelle Bracken, Great Future Start here. The Boys and Girls Clubs is currently registering for our summer program, and it's an 8-week program, and if anyone's interested, or if you have any families who may be interested, have them call 706-253-CLUB. I have some business cards as well with me if you'd like to take with you, and Great Future Start here.
Beth Ray, Must Ministries, Director of Employment Services, partnering with the Resource Center. We have a Retail Customer Service Certification class through the National Retail Federation. That class will be held in Canton, June 16th through 20th. It is a 40-hour class. They will receive an actual certification that is recognized by employers. And the purpose for that class is to take individuals who have some customer service experience, but move them into supervisory roles or lead roles that will result in full-time work versus part-time.
Is there a fee?
No, there's no fee for that class.
Thank you.
Just the transportation to get them there.
Yes.
I'm with North Georgia Mountain Crisis Network, and our main office has been in Blue Ridge, but we can't just take walk-ins there because it is also our battered women's shelter and it has to remain confidential. Well, we just opened an office in Gilmer. If you know where Little Caesars is, it's right behind Little Caesars, right across from Huff's Drug. The number there, if you'd like it, is 706-635-8400. And so that is a location where people can walk in, and our services is helping victims of sexual assault and domestic violence. And I'm bilingual, so we are reaching out to the Hispanic community, especially in Gilmer.
Linda, you didn't talk. Do you want to just tell us a little bit about you?
Well, I'm not with any of your groups, actually, but I am with the Name Droppers, which is my business, and I do promotional products, things that we can do for fundraising. So I just kind of wanted to learn what you all are about. And
Do you write columns?
Turn right.
We'll give you a job immediately if you're wrong.
I have.
Oh, good.
Thanks, Michael.
Good talk.
I think you're better qualified than that.
No,
I am.
And she does excellent work.
Oh.
Yes, she does.
Thank you.
Michael Brock with Sharp Top Arts Association. Perception has been a problem for us in this community, something that I'm certainly trying to overcome. We typically reach out in a nice way to the youth market with our youth art shows that take place in March, and have a lot of senior membership and participation. I think I'll just toss this out because I can't cover the subject in 30 seconds, but my daughter came in from Denver over the weekend. She's an LCSW. She's worked in youth crisis and presently is with the state of Colorado on senior services. She'd never been in Sharp Top Arts Center, and I took her up. We have a show up, and she just flipped. She said, I can't believe this is here and has so little recognition. So I just want to leave it with everybody at this meeting that I'm available with ACES to do programming for the kids. We're such an alternative to what they're dealing with. And we want to be more meaningful in this community. So
Here, did you leave some information on the
I
back
did
table?
not.
Maybe
That's-
I'll get some and I'll leave it for next meeting.
Let's do that.
Okay.
Where's this located?
Ah, that's what I mean. Okay, other side of town. You know where the
Okay.
Stearns Bank is? You go around the corner,
Yeah.
cul-de-sac to the youth, or to the Jasper Elementary. Right there. It's a cute little historic building, 14-foot ceilings. It's just fantastic. It really is. And we're recovering from some lagging interest, and I think we're doing a good job. It's not easy. We're a nonprofit. Membership is our primary funding. I'm trying to write for grants. Long way to go, but it's very, very worthwhile.
Thank you.
Hi, Steve Greenwell with Habitat for Humanity. So glad I found this here. Can't believe we haven't for long. We have a search for families going on right now. We're getting ready to start construction in a development, which is 9 acres, which will be, at the present time, 7 houses that will develop over the next couple of years. So if you know any families that are or should be referred to us, the phone number is 706-253-2392. And Michelle, we ran into the same problem with the brochures at the school. It sucks, to be perfectly honest with you.
Yeah, we sent out all your flyers via Boys and Girls Clubs,
we
and I turned it
appreciate
into a picture and put it on Facebook.
And if you send me the flyer, I can help you pass the word along to
Okay,
our
great.
partners.
All right, thank you.
I
So,
assume that's just for Pickens County though, right?
yeah, we only deal with Pickens County, right?
That's what I
Resident has to be a resident for a year, and we do not, contrary to some popular belief, give away homes. We do sell them. There is, people have to carry a mortgage, make a down payment, do all the things that we do. So there is a qualification process they have to go through. But if you know anybody or can refer anybody, use that phone number. The office is open Tuesday and Friday from 10 until 3. Thank you.
Okay, Ann Hofstadter, Renew Counseling. I just want to remind everyone that I do have an office here in Pickens County. It's on Cove Road. We deal with substance abuse classes, anger management classes, and domestic violence classes. And I'm here on Tuesday night, so just reminding everyone of that.
I'm Ron Parker with the North Georgia Pregnancy Center right by the Dairy Queen here. It's interesting with the word pregnancy in our name, a lot of people don't know what we do there. I'm serious. I mean, you have to see it, you have to go through it, you have to understand it. People come in and they go, but one thing we're starting new this year is birth of the family classes, which is open to couples. You don't have to be pregnant, you don't have to be anything, just a couple. And this is to help communication for kids and parents and everything else. So it's brand new and it expands our whole market base there of who we're appealing to. So we're going beyond just pregnant girls or women to the whole family. So if anyone knows a couple that may be having issues or just wants to learn to communicate better, then please contact us. It's free. You even get pizza free. So let us know. Thank you.
Let me ask you, is it parenting and marriage counseling, would you say?
It's probably a little of both in there. It's overall about I think it's a 12-week series. I haven't actually been through it. They just started last year, and we've doubled the number of people that signed up already, and the ones that went want to come back. So it's been that good.
What's the class called?
Birth of the Family. Just give us a call, and we'll be glad to get you some information. And the dates, it's Wednesday nights right now. I know the meeting Wednesday nights, I think it's 6:30.
And you said it's free?
Mm-hmm. Pizza's free too.
I'm Carol Maddox. I'm Executive Director of Good Samaritan, and you may have noticed we've started our building.
Yay.
Yay! I think, no, it's a wonderful thing, but one of the, as was already mentioned actually, you know, our culture and our DNA is volunteer driven, and our building is also designed to incorporate the use of volunteers. So I'm selling this as a team building exercise for staff too. So if any of your organizations want to sign up their staff or anything as a team to come help us build, just call us and we can get you in touch with our construction volunteer coordinator. Or if your civic group or Sunday school group or whatever wants to come and help, we've got hammers for everyone. So thanks.
I'm with Carol.
Okay.
She's building a building.
Jackie just asked that I mention this. Hopefully most of you know since it's actually in Pickens County, but Highland Rivers has received a grant, and there's going to be a new substance abuse treatment facility opening on August the 1st here. And that's, to me, just fabulous. I mean, it's a shame that we need it, but it's wonderful that we'll actually have an in-house facility here on August the 1st for all of our communities. And it's going to be a 20-bed residential program just for men right now, and it says an outpatient treatment for both men and women, but it is just going to be a 20-bed right now just for men. But this is just, to me, fabulous news that I wanted to share in case you weren't aware.
And where will that be?
It's going to be at the Highland Rivers. The way I understood the article, it's going to be at Highland Rivers.
At Highland Rivers?
Yeah.
Okay.
It'd be nice if we could get Jason Bearden here to tell us about it.
Oh,
Yeah, that would
okay,
be
yeah. Yeah, the way I'm reading the article,
Inpatient.
yeah, it's definitely inpatient. So I think it's great. Like I said, very much needed.
Did you say Jason Bearden?
Mm-hmm, that's the CEO
At Highland Rivers, yeah. And the other thing, I think Michelle or someone mentioned Stewards of Children training. We're actually going to be having at my next month's collaborative meeting is going to be a Stewards of Children, and it's a sexual child abuse, unfortunately, training. And that's going to be on June the 8th, of course, in Gilmer County, and I know that might be a drive, but since I had to get up at 6:15 this morning, maybe some of you that was, the time factor. But anyway, I would love to have you come if you would like to take this training. It's very, very, very much worthwhile. So June the 18th, and if Jackie would, I will send her a reminder and she can send it out for me if anyone's interested in that training. Thank you.
It's 25 minutes from here to her door, because I've done it many times. So.
Don't tell on me.
Okay. Without state control on your tail. Anyway, John Rollins, Chattahoochee Tech, and you have to go up the shortcut. Anyway, GD program. I just want to tell a story. We have a young lady in our program. She's probably 20. She was adopted at the age of 12, so think about that. She told me that her adopted parents were going to homeschool her. She said that really never happened. So think about that. Where does she go? So she came to our program essentially with no schooling. She comes to our place every day, the lights are on. She's heavy into algebra now. She's very proud of herself that she can do that. She'll be passing the new, more challenging Judy tests very soon and going to college. So she's the same kind of person you can deal with. So that's what this is about. So that's what we all do every day. So thanks, Dad. Today was really helpful.
I'm Dr. John Malden. I'm teaching a workshop on the basics of pattern therapy. There's some flyers on the table. Pattern therapy gives you a look at how you operate, what you learned from your parents, how you use it in your life, and if your patterns are not working like you want them to, come learn how to change them.
Well, let me say something on that, because I've been through that, and anytime you think you have a barrier in your life or anything like that, I think that everyone can benefit from seeing what happened in your life and what your pattern is. So I found it very helpful.
Hi, Carrie Ann with ACES. I am the community relations person there. Right now, we're working on getting everything set for the summer. So we've already applied for the rec thing, and I have the applications for the Boys and Girls Club, and we're working on that as well. And we're also looking at some other opportunities and stuff for our kids to do during the summer. One of the big things that we need right now is volunteers. We have several different types of volunteers that we're looking for. Group volunteers, we had a church come out a couple weekends ago and during spring break, and they came and they made us a trail through the woods, a half-mile trail, and then they also painted our basketball court lines and stuff on that. So things like that. We're trying to get a garden box going so we can grow our own vegetables and herbs. So anything along that. The other type of volunteers is individuals. So with that, we have people that just want to come out and help raise awareness of us. Like if we have a table out, I plan on having tables out at the Apple Festival and different things like that, help try to raise money. So people that want to do that. And then people that want to work with the kids. Since summer is coming up, and we will have all 8 children at the home. If we go out on an excursion or we take them down to the aquarium or anything, we need an additional person, so we'll need a certified volunteer to go with us. So that would be something that you can come and spend the day with us and go and get free admission into whatever we're doing for your time and helping us watch after the kids. And then also we're looking for mentors and that sort of thing. So with a mentor, you would go through the certified volunteer process, which is basically the background check and an interview. And then you would have a child assigned to you, and you'd mentor that child. So you'd meet with them as often as you can or as often as needed, and help them through their issues and the things that are going on in their life. So there's different ways, but we definitely need to. Well, we've only been open for like a month and a half, so now that we've kind of got everything set and how we need to do what we need to do, now we're like, now we can accept volunteers. So that's our big push right now is volunteers.
I'd just like to remind everybody that here in Jasper, we have the NAMI Family Support Group for people who live with a loved one that has mental illness, a child, a spouse, a brother or sister, whatever. It meets here at the First Baptist Church on the 1st and 3rd Mondays from 7 o'clock until 8:30. We also have it up at Gilmer, and I think Jean's probably has been taking care of this up there. And we also have one in Blue Ridge, and we just opened one up in Blairsville. And so our goal is to bring the support, advocacy, education on mental illness up the 515 corridor. So there's an ad in Gilmer paper about our meetings and the community calendar. There's one here in the Pickens newspaper. If you have any questions, or there's a number there, times, anything else, it's in the community calendar. And once again, we have our annual, and I'll be bringing this up probably every month now, that we have our annual NAMI walk to raise money, and it's at Piedmont Park on October the 1st, and I'll bring more information about that.
My name is Melissa Dempsey. I am the volunteer supervisor for CASA, Court Appointed Special Advocates. for Pickens, and I want to, I've been in this position since August, but I've also been working on my master's of social work with Valdosta State University, and I just graduated last weekend, so now I have time. I have time to come to these meetings, and I've been looking forward to meeting the folks in the community. Some faces are familiar, and names are familiar. I think I've talked with Dr. Malden on the phone before, so I'm just really eager to meet all you guys and find out what resources we have in Pickens County. We do have, we're always in need of volunteers, just like everybody else. We have our summer class. Our volunteers are required to go through a 30-hour training class and then do 10 hours of court observation. And we have our summer class starting July 15th, I believe it is. So if you know anybody, send them our way.
Thank you and welcome aboard. Thank you.
I'm Greg Mason. My wife and I are the directors of the Ruth House. Those who don't know, it's a women's drug and alcohol, 21-bed facility, 18 and above. And we subsequently work with the families and children as well. And have a need out there. Just don't have any of my flyers. There's a number of 678-528-1642.
Oh, you're going to have to say that again.
678-528-1642.
I think I have a couple of your flyers on the table.
Thank you.
And also, we've just started the Recovery Resource Center, which used to be the shelter, which is just beside the Good Sam, between their store, Good Sam, the little trailer down there. Dr. Malden has a workshop going on with the generational patterns, and also we started life coach with the patterns as well. So that number, similar, you can call the same number, and my extension is on there as well.
Well, thank you.
Can I take a 30-second survey?
Absolutely.
Since customer service happened to be the top of the first that appeared on the training list, and I happen to have a good friend who did this for a living for a long time, taught customer service. How many of you have any volunteers or staff that you would have an interest in coming to a short training session on customer service, how to deal with the public? Is there enough interest? Okay, that's all I need. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mary.
Yeah, I just want to say something, just to make sure y'all are all aware that if y'all will send me press releases, any of your events or anything, I can put it on my website. I get about 26,000 visitors a month. I have almost 8,700. I have over 8,700 Facebook likes. So I know a lot of you mentioned the paper and whatnot, but I probably reach a different audience. So please make sure, again, my website's nopickens.com, like you mentioned that, and I have a calendar as well. So it'd be great if you could send me that information to put on.
And I have used her services when we had the job fair, and I asked people, how did you find out about the job fair? And a lot of them said they found out on Facebook and on the website. So that was really very beneficial. Just want to add two things. We have our resource center if your people need like ACEs, if your girls and boys would like to work on their resumes, how to talk to people, 30-second speech and things like that, look for temporary jobs or part-time jobs. We can help with that for anybody. Please check the back table. If you don't have anything there, we'd love to have something there from your organization. And if you have something there that you don't want there anymore, please take it with you. And thank you. I thought today was wonderful. We got a lot of great input. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Could I mention one quick thing?
Yes.
Up in the Gilmer office, we have a forensic medical exam room. You know, when someone is sexually assaulted, going to the hospital is a very public thing because people see you coming and going. They can go to this room and have privacy, and we have a sexual assault nurse examiner that can take the evidence and all of that and in a much more private setting. So keep that in mind.